refers to the personality consciousness on three lower planes, or to all that is considered as inferior to the causal body. It concerns a man's realization of his place upon the globe within the chain. I am that refers to his egoic consciousness, and to the planes of the triad. It concerns a man's realization of his place within the chain, and his relationship to the group of which he forms a part. I am that I am refers to a man's monadic consciousness, and his relationship to the planes of abstraction. It concerns his realization of his position in the scheme. When the initiate can say, I am that I am, then he has merged himself with his divine essence, and is freed from form. The first occult assertion marks his emancipation from the three lower kingdoms, and his conscious functioning in the three worlds. This occurred at individualization through the instrumentality of menos. The second occult assertion marks the gradual emancipation of man from the lower three kingdoms, and his complete freeing from lower form domination at the fifth initiation. At the final assertion, the initiate not only distinguishes between the self and all other forms of manifestation. He not only distinguishes between his own identity and the soul, as well as matter in form, but he can discriminate between the three spirit, soul, and matter, and with this realization he is entirely liberated from manifestation for this greater cycle. This inherent discriminative faculty of menos, displayed on ever higher spirals, leads a man into matter and form, through all forms of matter on all planes, and finally brings about his eventual abstraction from all forms and matter, plus the aggregate of transmuted knowledge which the evolutionary process has procured for him. B. Ordered activity. Here comes in the concept of intelligent purpose, pursuing a fixed and settled plan, and working out a preconceived ideal in time and space. The microcosm comes into incarnation through impulse based on intelligent purpose, originating in his case on the mental plane, the plane of the monastic principle. An interesting point might here be indicated. The fifth plane, the mental, may be considered on a large scale as holding, in the case of a heavenly man, a position symbolically analogous to that held by the causal bodies of the units on his ray. Some causal bodies are on the third and some on the second subplanes, and the intricacy is excessive and various, producing geometrical forms allied somewhat to those portrayed upon the charts. All is ordered activity of the units, each pursuing his own self-centered purpose and following the inclination of the lower self, whose slogan is, I am. This will gradually give place to the ordered activity of the groups in which the units recognize the oneness of their self-interest, and therefore intelligently, actively, and with conscious purpose work for the good of the body corporate. The vibration which occultly accompanies the sounding of the words, I am that, by the units on the physical plane is only very faintly beginning to make itself felt. Units here and there are sounding it forth by their lives, and are thus passing on the vibration, and setting it in motion against the cruder, coarser one of, I am. The time for the sounding of the final mantric phrase by ordered active groups, lies ahead in the 6th and 7th rounds, and will not reach its full vibration in this solar system at all. I am that, will peal forth fully consummated in this system of duality, for the third initiation sees the initiate comprehending its mantric force. Nevertheless, initiates of the 6th and 7th initiations will not preponderate in this system. After the 5th round, and the passing into temporary obscuration of 2/5 of the human family, the remaining units will achieve an approximate standing, as follows. 1/5 will mantrically sound the words, I am that I am. 2/5 will achieve the 5th initiation and will know themselves as, I am that. They will also be cultivating response to the higher note. 1/5 and a half will attain the 3rd initiation, and will know themselves as, I am that, in full consciousness. The remaining units will be those who are treading the path, and beginning to know themselves as the group. In reference to what has been said, and the second characteristic of Minas, a very interesting development may be looked for during the coming century. This is the intensification of business organization, and the bringing, under law and order, of the entire life of families and groups of families, cities and groups of cities, nations and groups of nations, until the human race in every department of its exoteric life will conform to rule, this voluntarily, and with monastic realization of group need. The whole trend of mental effort during the next supraces will be towards the synthesis of endeavor, thus ensuring the good of the corporate body involved. Many interesting events will occur and many experiments will necessarily be made, some to prove successful and some failures, before Minas, or purposeful, ordered, intelligent activity, will control in the life of the peoples of this world. It is not possible to enter into this in greater detail, as the subject is too vast. Let us now take the third attribute of Minas, and its future demonstration. See adaptability. This is, as we know, the prime attribute ascribed to the third ray, or the Brahmi aspect. Therefore, fundamentally it may be considered as the attribute of intelligence, which adapts the matter aspect to the spirit aspect, and is a characteristic inherent in matter itself. It works under the two laws of economy, and of attraction and repulsion. The work of the Mahakoan, being primarily along this line. Consequently, the four lesser rays of attribute which are synthesized into the third ray of aspect, adaptability, or active intelligence, are fundamentally concerned, and the future of Minas is therefore involved in the growing influence of these four rays. 1. Harmony, beauty, art or unity. 2. Concrete science or knowledge. 3. Abstract idealism. 4. Ceremonial magic. 2. Development of the human mind. When the future results brought about by the four types of force mentioned above are somewhat realized, and their relationship to the adaptation of matter to spirit, through the building into form, is studied, much of profound significance will be sensed by the student. In the foretelling of mental developments along these four lines, and the prophesying of definite achievement, indications may be given of the path which concrete science may follow. Let us, therefore, take these four types of force, or these four planetary influences, and study them separately, bearing ever in mind that a. Each of them has swung into power during earlier world cycles. B. One of them, being the influence of our own planetary logos, is ever present with us, and is the major influence or vibration on the planet. C. Certain of them are passing out of power at this present time, and others are coming in. D. During the remainder of this round, and the entire fifth round, these four rays of attribute will circulate into and out of power ceaselessly. Towards the end of the fifth round, the third ray of aspect will predominate, having begun its work of synthesizing, and its influence will be paralleled in the sixth round by the gradually growing power of the second ray of aspect, the two types of influence overlapping. In the seventh round, the power of the second ray will predominate and the influence of the third will weaken. The first ray will make itself felt. The first ray, that of Mahadeva 151 Pranavavada, pp. 82-84, 311.49, or the destroyer, will set its second great impulse upon our planetary evolution by the obscuration of 2/5 of the human family. The impress to be set by the first ray upon our human family on this globe might be considered as threefold. First, at human individualization in the middle of the third root race. This was produced by a vast destruction of the forms we call animal man. This point has seldom been brought out in teaching. The advent of the Lords of the Flame, the electrical storm, which ushered in the period of man, was distinguished by disaster, chaos, and the destruction of many in the third kingdom of nature. the spark of mind was implanted, and the strength of its vibration, and the immediate effect of its presence caused the death of the animal form, thus producing the immediate possibility of the newly vitalized causal bodies vibrating to such purpose that new physical vehicles were taken. That was the will aspect, manifesting in the fourth round in connection with the human family. Second, in the fifth round, at the so-called judgment. This will bring about the apparent destruction of 2/5 of the human family, and the translation of the indwelling units of consciousness to other spheres, more suited to their stage of evolution. This event will be regarded at the time as a catastrophe, but the knowers will see and know, and 3/5 of the human family will understand the reason. Third, at the final reabsorption of the perfected monads into their emanating source in the seventh round. This will be marked by obscuration, and the destruction of the form. Suffering will be practically nil, as the human units involved will have reached a stage where they can consciously cooperate in the process of abstraction. It is evident therefore that as regards the human family, the Manasaputras in incarnation, the fourth, fifth, and seventh rounds hold the key to the first aspect. For the Devas it is the first, second and sixth. For the involutionary entity, whom we call the spirit of the planet, it is simply the third. The third ray holds sway all the time, for the second ray only came into power in the second round. It holds sway simultaneously with the second ray until the end of the age, when it begins gradually to obscure as the first ray swings into influence again. Remember, nevertheless, that all three are at all times present. It is simply a question of degree, and of cyclic evolution. We might now take the four minor rays, which, with the third, make the sum total of manas, and see wherein their influence may be expected. The subject is so stupendous that we cannot possibly do more than touch upon certain points, nor can we enlarge along the line of the mechanistic development of forms to utilize the force. This is all hidden in the science of electricity, and as exoteric science discovers how to utilize the power in the air, or to reduce electrical phenomena to the uses of man. To build forms, and create machines, to contain and distribute the electrical forces of the atmosphere. To harness the activity of matter, and to drive it towards certain ends. To employ the electrical force in the air to vitalize, rebuild, and heal the physical body. Then the phenomena of the rays, working in cycles, will be comprehended, and vast opportunities will be seized by man to bring about specific ends during specific cycles. A. Ray effects. The ray of harmony, beauty and art, or the second manasic aspect, adaptability being the third, will work out in the following ways. In the development of the intuition by the means of the knowledge of sound vibration, and the higher mathematics. This is being already touched upon exoterically. Music, as a means to be employed in building and destroying, will be recognized, and the laws of levitation and of rhythmic movement in all forms, from an atom to a solar system, will be studied. The manipulation of matter of all kinds by the means of sound will be practiced on the two lower planes, and when the synthesis of the four rays in